Black History Month is a big deal in the NBA. Pistons Vice Chairman Arn Tellem, third year in a row, Rod, that he has sponsored basically an art exhibit at the DIA. They unveiled it last night for the Pistons Foundation. How cool is it to see, as you travel around the league, especially during this month, all that the NBA does for this cause?
Probably more than any sport. I think they put a concerted effort into it to shine a light on the community events that they do, but really just the shirts, the shoes, the everything else is just really cool. It's
definitely a big thing. You know, Andre Drummond was telling me how much he's going to use his platform, and other players like to use their platform, especially during this time of the month, to make sure that we continue the positive conversation of inclusion for everyone moving forward. But moving forward with the Pistons, where are they going? Where are they headed? We want to see them be successful as a fan base. So I had to sit down with Arn Tellem and ask him those questions pretty directly. Here's what we had to say in our couple-minute conversation.
Believe me, I go to the games. I feel the fans' pain. We want this team to be good. We now have a plan to get it right. We're going to right the ship.
Tellem is a holdover from the previous regime, and his new group of decision-makers, including Ed Stefanski and Malik Rose, are determined to make changes for both now and the future.
We got some good young prospects and giving up players that were going to be difficult to retain this summer. So we got two good young players in Svi and Thon Maker. The key is we're not giving up on this year. We're focusing on this year. We want to win this year, but we're going to be ever mindful, not give lip service to the future. Is not 5 years out, but it's 2 and 3 years out, and we got to get ready for that to really build this team for those upcoming seasons.
But fans, they've heard that before. The plan 4 years ago didn't work out. Stan Van Gundy came to town and tried to make the Pistons a winner right away. But in the end, he failed to successfully pick the right players in free agency and through the draft to do anything but make the playoffs just once as an 8 seed. Tellem knows that it's up to him and his group to make sure that they make smarter moves to position themselves more competitively moving forward.
We have to just accept where we are and do everything we can to sort of find ways to get that cap flexibility that we need, so that we have the full arsenal of weapons to improve the team besides the draft, and it'll help us in making trades and also in signing good quality free agents.
But back to the question that sparked all the debate. Is it worth winning to make a brief stop in the playoffs, or should they continue to try to find more ping pong balls in this upcoming lottery, because everybody wants a shot at this guy? It seems the Pistons are trying to do both.
That isn't the end goal, just to make the playoffs. Our end goal is to really be a contending team. And that's why we're not going to give lip service to the future. We're really focusing on the future. And the goal is that by getting cap flexibility, preserving our #1 draft picks, which we're not going to give up, by drafting better, we're going to make this team really good in the future.
Special thanks to Arn for sitting down, taking some time out of his charity event to be able to do that type of conversation. What's the biggest thing that maybe jumps off of that conversation from your perspective?
Well, it's the realization and the acknowledgement that mistakes were made, if you want to go that route with it. And fans knew that. It was just not the right players and not the right mix. And Stan Van Gundy thought he was really close. He really thought he was really close, and the John Lures, the Langston Galloways were the final pieces that he needed to make what he wanted work, and it just got progressively worse. And certainly the Reggie Jackson injury blew away his entire plan. There's no way around that.
Yeah, no, and I like to kind of use the analogy that it seemed like Stan Van Gundy would go to the used car lot and say, I need that car, that car, that car, and that car, and I'm going to bring all of them together, and we're going to mash them together, and it's going to be the best new car you've ever seen. Well, it doesn't really work that way, especially when you take a lot of different makes, models, and brands and try to just say their things are going to work together. I thought it was interesting when he said that, you know, to your point, the admission, because Detroit right now, as we know, the Red Wings, they're admitting, hey, we're in the middle of a rebuild. Hey, the Tigers, yeah, us too. The Lions are still saying they're better than 9-7. They're not. So the Pistons finally kind of coming around. Will this maybe ease the blow from the fans' perspective? I mean, you know the attendance rates for the Pistons are what they are, last in the NBA, but it's because I feel like they've been trying to sell us, this is a good team. This is a good team. This is a good, we're not, you know what I mean?
Right, but I think it's more of the direction is they're going to try to make the playoffs. And I think this year they will make the playoffs, and not even as the 8th seed. I think they've got a good shot to get to the 7th seed and maybe even the 6th seed. They're 2.5 games behind Brooklyn for the 6th seed. If some of these pieces click into place, you're talking about a 6th seed, a 7th seed, and a lot of progress, something that the Lions haven't done as much in winning a playoff game. You put this team against Toronto, and I think they have as good a chance as against anybody else. They're not matching up well against the Sixers or Philly or Milwaukee. They're not matching up well in any of those series. But against Toronto, Dwayne Casey talks about the give a crap level. I think they'd come out with a very high give a crap level if they had a series against Toronto.
Definitely the growth of the young players is good, but I did put him in the back of the video. I know that you kind of smirk every time you see a Zion Williamson, as the chances are very minuscule. I'm not trying to persuade anybody out there that tanking would even get you any closer to him, because as you've pointed out many times, it won't. The point is, though, if they don't make the playoffs, how much is that this draft is looking deeper? How much could they, is it not the worst thing in the world if they don't, I guess?
It's not the worst thing in the world if they don't, but it just means that they failed yet again. And they have the team, and the schedule is one of the weakest remaining in the league for the remainder of this year. And that's why I think they've got a good chance to leapfrog a few of these teams and get there.
That's the type of knowledge you just can't get anywhere else, my friends. All right, coming up next, we have to talk a little bit about Michigan and Michigan State. How about that? Two good teams in the state. Winning, maybe. I don't know. We're getting closer and closer to doomsday on February 24th. Anyways, we'll take your tweets as well. Use the hashtag 7SportsCave. Whatever you want, bring them. We're coming up next here on the 7 Sports Cave with more discussion. We'll be right back.